Okay, hello everyone, Cephas here. I am going to I'm going to try and explain how the economy system works in Brood War and in Starbow, and some results that come from how economy works. I'm going to also contrast it a little bit to StarCraft 2, but it's mainly going to be Brood War and Starbow I'm going to be focusing on. So the first concept I'll be showing you is what's called bouncing worker concept in Brood War. Basically, if you have one worker mining at one mineral and another one tries to mine at the same, he's not going to stand there and wait. He's going to bounce to another open mineral. Like, what happens is that, well, I can just show, when this guy is mining and this guy wants to mine, he's going to check immediately if anything else is open. And if something else is open, he's going to go there, if something else is open. Let's see what happens if both are mining simultaneously. And now he's not going to bounce because everything is taken. So at the moment he checks, and if it's taken, he's not going to bounce to another open mineral. But like this, now he's going to bounce. And this, now he's going to bounce. Yep. And now he is going to wait because both are taken. So what happens with this, what happens is that when you have more workers than you have mineral patches, they're going to start bouncing around a little bit, because very rarely, if you have 8 mineral patches and 8 workers, are all of them mining at the same time. But the more workers you get, the less bouncing you get. But then the more waiting it will be. So this creates an income curve that is slowly decreasing in efficiency per worker. The first workers are going to be most efficient, and the more, for every worker you add, you're going to get to a point where they're less and less effective. I think maximum saturation in Brood War, when you have 8 mineral patches, are about 30 workers. It's actually quite high, and we measured it. You can still get a little tiny bit of income off of those last workers, but very, very little. So we thought for a long time that workers always bounced in Brood War, but as you can see, it's not the case. They're only bouncing if something is available. And this guy's not going to bounce. He's going to wait because that wasn't open. So so for a while we had them bouncing all the time, and that was not correct. And then we realized that we needed to fix that. So in Starbow now, it should behave the same way. So let's, we can just exit this. I'm not going to show this anymore anyway. Let's go into this map. So let's see that we have the same stuff in Starbow. So what this is a mining test map that I made with the Starbow dependency. So the workers in this map will behave exactly like they do in current Starbow. I guess I don't really need to show this off. I'm just showing it's the same, but I'll just show it off. That's not the important part of this demonstration, but I don't really care about making it super effective. I'm caring about more of explaining. So we're going to see the same thing happening here. So we have these two mining off of each other, and this guy now is going to wait. Okay, good. Now, if he waits a little bit, and then he goes here, then he's going to bounce. He's not going to wait. He would have paired up in StarCraft 2 here. But now, see, they're bouncing because stuff are open. Now, they got them into bouncing pretty good now. You can get into like a setting where they like almost, yeah, because he just finished it at that time. We've done this with triggers by giving the mineral patches values when they're being mined and not mined, and then he's checking if there's any values available or not. Let me get him to not bounce here because, okay, there we go, now he's waiting. And he should be waiting now too, yeah. So they calm down after a while, once they get into like a rhythm in the system. Another thing to note in both Brood War and Starbow is that the mining time itself is longer. So even though it's bringing 8 minerals per trip, it doesn't mean you actually get that much higher of an income than 5 minerals per trip, because the whole mining process is actually longer. You see, they do move and behave a little bit smoother than they do in StarCraft Brood War, and that will change the income somewhat. So let's look at the effects of this, which I think is the most important part, and also the part that has a little bit of a misconception. Not a big one, but just a tiny misconception. So let's look at a misconception. So let's go back in here. Let's look at, which one was it? Was it this one? I think it was this one. Yes, it's this one. So let's look at this one. See, what I've done with this map is I made a custom income tab. Because income tabs only are visible in replays, and I don't want to publish a map and make it, because you can't make replays when you test maps. I think I can't make replays when I test map. I'm not that go-to. So I made an income tab instead, which looks kind of bad, but it's the best I could do with my abilities. So let's look at an interesting concept. So if we look at eight patches, so let's send 8 workers to 8 patches. This is going to be our income tab. It's going to fluctuate quite a bit. That's not 8 workers. That's 8 workers, I think. Yeah, that was 8 workers. Oops. Oh, come on. There we go. That's 8 workers. So we're sending 8 workers to mine. For some reason, I think it's because of our mining triggers. Sometimes it says it's 7 instead of 8 workers because we give the minerals values when they're being mined and not mined. See, they bounce around to find stuff. See, yeah, it says 7 instead of 8 for some reason. I see that the income tab goes up. Let's see how when... It doesn't really stabilize that well. The income tab is very fluctuating, which is annoying me. It should have like longer intervals before it and stabilize a little bit more, but it seems to be around 400, but it bounces up and down quite a bit. A little over 400, it seems. Yeah, about 400, but sometimes it bounces almost to 500. Okay, it didn't have that spike again. So it's about 400. I can click it for... So that was about 400. So let's add 8 more. This is Starbow Eco, by the way. Let's add 8 more. Okay, try and spread them out a little. I'm going to see a lot of bouncing now. Because when there's only 16 workers, the chances are that some field will be open at some point. So we had about 400, and now we're going to see it's going to grow. It's going to grow quite a bit, actually. It's going to grow up. Okay, it's crossed 600. Ooh, down to... It's going to stabilize around 600 if I remember correctly. Yeah, there we go, because it's bouncing up to, like, it spikes sometimes almost to 700. But yeah, a little over 600, I would say it's stabilized. 608 seems to be the one that shows the most. Okay, so this is the moment we've been waiting for. What happens if we transfer 8 workers to another base? Right? Because this is what we've been saying, is that this is much more effective. And it is more effective, but let's just see exactly how much more effective it is. Now these are going to bounce around so that because see, these two are paired up, and that isn't really supposed to happen. No, so they don't pair up well at all in Starbow. So, and these guys are saying, well, let me manually get these guys to... Now we have them perfectly well saturated. So we had about 600. Now these are going to bounce up to about 800. So we see an increase of about 30-35% by dividing it into 2 bases. So, and you can actually, we're going to look at something else that's quite interesting afterwards. So that's, I think this is the main interesting result from the Starbow Economy, is that, you know, spreading out on more bases gives you more income, but it's not twice as much. Like it's not even 50% higher. It's about 30-35% higher. So it's effective, but it's not as effective as some people think, I believe. I think people have been thinking it's more than it actually is. That's just from listening to streams and stuff. Let's do something interesting. Let's see what maximum saturation is. And it's going to be oversaturated. It's not going to be optimal saturation, but maximum saturation. So now we have 16 workers. And let's see if the income tab is going to climb. So we're going to prepare some more workers here. So we had about 600. Well, we know it's going to climb. It did. So we had about 600. Let's add 3 more. Let's see if it goes up. We're going to add 3 and 3 workers. This is kind of improvised at the end here. I forgot about this. I'm going to do this. So now we have, oopsies, 16 plus 3, which is 19 workers. And it doesn't show that much of a difference, actually. Yeah, it's more at 672. Okay, there we go, up to 7. Yeah, so it's somewhat. Oof, oh, I hate the getting double one. Okay, that's better. So let's add 3 more. It's slightly better. For every worker we add, it's not going to be much more, but it was more. See how high we can get, and when it stops. So we have 8 mineral patches here, by the way. I hope not get mined out, by the way. That would suck. So okay, there we go. 736. We haven't seen that number before. 760. Okay, there we go. Yeah, 800. Wow. Still getting minerals here. Okay, let's add 3 more. Let's add 3 more. I'm gonna make some more workers ready while they are, you know, getting themselves out, getting the income tab to start working. I think 28 workers is maximum saturation. What do we have now? We have, oh, we have quite a bit of workers now. That's not right. Well, I mean, adding 3 and 3. So we have 25 workers now. So things have not changed much. We had 800 before as well. So we have 25 workers now. Oh, no, actually, adding those 3 workers didn't... maybe maximum saturation stops around 24 workers. So I said 28. Let's add 3 more just to see. I have done better testing than this before, so I know that it should be 28, but I'm starting to doubt it when I see this stuff. Let's see if we can get over 800. It's struggling to get there. Like, there's no way I can add more workers now. Like, this is plenty of workers. Yeah, I don't think it's doing anything else now. This is, yeah, this is as high as it gets. So it seems like 24 workers. Okay, so it's stabilizing on 738, 764. So let's, I said 24. Let's remove 4 workers and see if 24 workers does the same trick. So we see an initial drop down because they had some cargo they didn't return. Let's see if it goes back up again once these guys bounce around a little bit. No, it did drop down. It seems to have dropped down now because it had more of 760 stuff and it doesn't have that anymore. Oh, there it's on again. It's kind of hard to say with this test. I would have to do some more extensive testing and have a better income tab that is more average, not so sudden. Oh, 800. Wow, it seems to be even better. Okay, so it seems that 24 workers on 8 patches is the magic number. You should never have much more than that. But like, even if we remove 8 workers now, for fun, just have 16 workers. That's so 768 seems to be the highest. Sometimes 800 goes. So if we remove 8 workers, only back to 16 again, because it doesn't. It was about the same then, I think. Okay, yeah, that's a visual drop down there, but it's not that. That was 8 workers. That's a lot of workers, and it didn't make that much of a difference. You see, yeah. You can oversaturate, and I think that's a good thing, especially like in matchups like TVP, where Terran usually has a lot of workers and few bases, that you can actually get something out of those extra workers. But 24 seems to, yeah, those 8 workers did something to the economy, definitely did something. Not much, but something, about, 10, 15% more income. Okay, that was Starbow Economy explained in horrible ways. Thank you for watching.